Hey, this is PMR. I'm in Atlanta at the Atlanta Photojournalism Conference. It's something I volunteer with every year. This is just kind of shaky cell phone video, but I wanted to do something on how to set up like a multi-camera thing in a big room, and that's what we're doing. So we're going to be using the ATEM Mini Extreme, which has 8 different inputs. It's fabulous. It has a headphone jack, which is like really cool. It has 2 different outs, but I'll get into that later. But I'm gonna, as we go and build this out, I'll show you kind of what's up. This is the camera 1 position. This is an FX3 on a 200 to 600, which might seem overkill, but look how far away the speaker is going to be from where the camera has to be. So I think it's appropriate to use this lens. The FX6, of course, has the same sensor as the A7S III, which is unbelievable. It sees in the dark. So I'm not worried about noise on this or anything like that. I also use the best tripod that I have, which is this FSB8. This is a Sackler. It's a really serious tripod. It has actual transmissions in the movement areas. It's great. So you can you really want it, the longest lens that you're going to have, that you're going to make the most changes with, that's where you want to have your best tripod. So that's why we're using that one. So it takes an enormous amount of cabling to pull off something like this. And this is like just the box of cables. And there's more cables in the different cases for the FX3 and FX6 as well. It just takes a lot of wire, a lot of spaghetti. So this is the second camera position. This is an FX9 with a 28 to 135 on it, which is, you know, a typical cinema lens. It comes with it or whatever. This is going to be the medium shot that will show the podium with the screen. So these are all photojournalists that are going to be showing their work, and we'll toggle back and forth between that scene and actually being able to see the feed from the laptop, which will be another HDMI input into the Extreme. Okay, here's our camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. That's what we've got so far. We're going to have a 4th feed from the laptop, which is whatever's on the screen. So we'll go flip back and forth as the photographers are talking about their work. And now you can see kind of the monitor. It's really easy. So you can see all 8 inputs on the ATEM Mini Extreme. We don't have a hard drive connected yet, but down here, when you connect up the hard drive, it'll literally show you how much space is left. It's really cool. But since there's no disk, it just says no disk down here. But once we connect that, all you do is you just hit record here on the ATEM, and then you hit stop when you're done recording. It's very, very simple. I know that this is very overwhelming to look at all these buttons and stuff, but really, I'm gonna pull back here. Really, you just, you know, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and so this upper right window is the program, and that's the one that's being sent out of the outputs in the back of the ATEM. So that's either going to the stream, to the web, or it's going to a hard drive, or going to other screens, or whatever it is. So this will probably be just a 4 input switch for this weekend. Pretty straightforward. Now, one of the problems with long runs of HDMI is you can't go too far. Now, there are some fiber cable options that are, you know, fairly expensive, but SD cables is really, really cheap. And so this is a Blackmagic adapter box. And what it does, it allows you to run all the way up there to the camera that's way up there to back here with an SDI cable, and then right at here it changes from SDI into, it comes out the other side, and it's HDMI. So this little box is like $100 or so, and this is the best way to go for long runs when you have to have a camera really far away from your switch. That's about the best way to do it. One of the things I just did recently is I went to each camera and I made sure that each camera is on the same frame rate. We're using 29.97 or 30p, and then we changed all the ISO into the high range, and then we knocked down the gains on each one so that we have a decent exposure on each. And then finally we made sure that the the Kelvin was right for each one. So basically we're using 3200, although I'm probably going to change that down to like 2900 because I think 3200 is really not really correct for a lot of tungsten. So we'll see. Okay, so this is the position of camera 3. It's kind of by the podium, but it's basically going to be for audience, so we can go wide with it and see a bunch of people watching. Or at the end of each speaker, we're going to have a question and answer session. And so we'll be able to look over here at the microphone and pick that up as well. And what we're doing here, this is the other end of the SDI cord that I showed you earlier. So the SDI doesn't have limitations on how much you can run like the HDMI does. And so we just run HDMI from this FX6 position on this other tripod, and then it goes all the way back to the back where we are at the table back there with the other 2 cameras. Okay, so now you can see all 4 cameras, or all 4 feeds. So the camera 1 is the big tall one, camera 2 is the screen with the speaker, and then camera 3 is our audience shot. And then the 4th feed is actually from the send from over here. So that's going to be what's going to be on the screen. Also, you can see now too on the ATEM we have disc hooked up. So there's like a little SAN disk back here. And all we do is just hit record. And once we hit record, it'll start. Here's Baldwin Lee, which is our first speaker. And basically you can see that the FX6 is tracking with IAF very easily, even though there's no light on him, which is really cool. This is Lance, my partner in crime.
Hey there.
Came in from Colorado with his FX6. So, and here's basically the final setup of the cameras, and then the switcher and the monitors and the headphones and the whole thing.
Because you were wonderful. You were just fortunate. Somebody shined some light on you for a few years.
What did you coach your students? Did you tell them to be bold? Did you tell them to be careful? I'd love to hear, how your advice to people evolved or didn't.
Yeah, the only part of my former life that I regret is